Howdy, everybody. John Clark here with Proven Performer. My two cohorts, Anthony Ferguson and Darren Fingleton. Hope everybody's having a great day. I have been in the closeout business for the last 42, almost 43 years, and residing in Costa Rica for the last 16 years. And these two guys you see here on the screen with me, both have worked with me for 8 years apiece. In fact, Darren's 8-year anniversary is coming up just 2 days from now on Thursday. And so we've all worked together on all sorts of liquidation projects over the years. And we thought, there's one thing we love doing, it's talking to one another. So we thought we're going to do a podcast and we're going to talk about the deal business. And we're going to talk about life in Costa Rica, because we all three have a long time living in Costa Rica. And we're going to talk about life in general and our relationships and the adventures and the things that we've done together, because we got in the deal business because we want to have freedom of life, freedom to do what we want to do, and so on and so forth. And so I'm going to pass it over to Darren just for a minute. Darren, you want to say a couple of words before we get started here talking about deals?
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, whatever time you may be watching this. We are excited to be doing this. I can't wait to see how this actually goes and turns out for us. Anthony, would you like to say anything?
Well, hello everyone. This is Anthony Ferguson. I hope you're having a great day. Today in my town is a very nice day, sunny. So I hope you guys are enjoying your day.
So just for a little bit of clarity to talk about where we are, that red arrow right there on the Caribbean side of Costa Rica, for those of you who think Costa Rica is an island, it's not. Costa Rica is definitely between Nicaragua and Panama. And so we're almost down to South America, but not quite, just one country away. The red arrow there in Coita on the Caribbean side of the country is where I met Anthony. That's his hometown. And I met him almost 16 years ago there. I am currently living in the mountains where that blue arrow is in northern Heredia. And Darren is in the southern Pacific zone down there where the green arrow is. If you want, right there between Darren and Anthony, that's all rainforest. That's why you see no roads there or anything else. You want to get from Darren's house to Anthony's house. As the crow flies, that's only about 110 kilometers, 120 kilometers, something like that, if you could just draw a straight line. Yeah. And so we're talking about, what is that, 90 miles, something like that? And
somewhere around there.
Yeah, it would take Darren a flat, you could get there in 7 hours, right? If you drove straight to get to Anthony's. I'm about 4 hours from him where I am now. Well, three and a half hours with the almost completed new highway, right, Anthony? And that new highway probably increased tourism like 50% going into Limon. So we're in the deal business, and what we focus on are big deals. Almost everything we sell is by the truckload or more, but we're looking for deals and selling deals that are 10 truckloads, 20 truckloads, 30 truckloads. In the last 3 years, we've done more than 2,000 truckloads of goods and containers sold to 26 different countries. We have about 500 customers that we've done business with over the years. Darren routed most of the logistics for all those shipments, sometimes with as many as 4 assistants in his department. And Anthony handles all kinds of on-the-ground operations for us. In our last project in Panama, he had, Anthony, up to 50 employees at one time, and supervised the unloading and distribution of hundreds of containers of COVID overbuys after in Panama. And so we have a massive amount of experience together, but what we do day to day is we sell deals, usually where they sit, and a lot of times we export them out of the country because that's a requirement. We sell a lot of merchandise in the United States. And so we're just going to talk about some of those deals. We send out emails all the time, and most of the people watching this are probably finding out about it from an email. And so we thought, we talk to each other all the time about these deals. Why not do a podcast and just comment about the deals as we go along? Maybe it's more interesting for folks. So really interested to hear anybody's comments about what we're doing. So first one I want to talk about today is some Valvoline wiper blades. How exciting. When Woot started, Woot.com, which was bought by Amazon, which is the company that started the daily deal business, they started with a robot lawnmower. Now, that was like 20 years ago. Can you imagine how bad that thing functioned? Robot lawnmower. You'll say the Proven Performer Made in Paradise podcast started with wiper blades. It's about 27,000 of these, all brand new in the case packs, 100% brand new. And Darren, you found a couple of these at $22.99 retail. So somewhere between $18 and $22 retail a piece.
Exactly. Yeah. This directly on the Valvoline website, $22.99.
Yeah, okay. So maybe if you're at AutoZone, it's $20. But anyway, these are $2 a piece on a take all, 26,000 units. I think this is just about half a truckload coming out of Ohio. So that's deal number one. Now, one of the things that we talk about every day when we're together, and we've spent hundreds, if not thousands of hours working around the same table together, is, you don't do this for the merchandise, because the merchandise is going to come and go. The reason that you do this business is so that you have freedom of life, but you do it for the relationships that you get involved in. And since I've been doing it for 43 years, I have relationships that go back decades. And those people may not have an inventory problem today, but they're going to have one tomorrow or next week or 6 months from now. And it's like a real estate agent or an attorney or anybody else that you trust. You don't make an inventory mistake all the time. You certainly don't want to make a 25 truckload inventory mistake all the time. But it does happen. And when it's happened, I want to be the person that they call. We want to be the people that they call to solve that problem. Doesn't matter what the restrictions are. Doesn't matter how big it is. We like it when it's big. And so far this year, we've done about 90 containers. Two of those deals involve canceled order situations. One of them was some gas grills with some little tiny blemishes. And so 10,000 gas grills got rejected by a major retailer. And we sold that product for export outside of North America. So that was one of the things we did. And another situation is just a buyer change inside a big retailer. And when that buyer changed, they canceled a massive order on the previous supplier, ended up with 35 containers of merchandise, nowhere to go with that. So we're dealing with that all the time. But besides the merchandise, you want to deal with people that are trustworthy. You want to deal with people that are honest, with people that are forthright, are going to tell you the truth. So in between these deals, we want to talk about what we normally talk about, which is doing business with good people. And when people don't meet our expectations, or when a situation doesn't go the way we'd like it to go, what happens? How do you handle it? So, Darren, what do you think the number one thing is that's important in this business? If you were brand new getting into it, right, because you've been doing it for 8 years and you had to come through the worst part of it, what would you say the number one most important thing is for somebody getting into the business brand new?
The number one most important thing, well, that would be relationships, but you need time to be able to build those relationships. So trust. You need to be trustworthy.
Yeah. And over the time that both of you have been with me, how many untrustworthy situations have we encountered?
Well, there have been quite a few, but we get through them. We find out how to deal with it, and we always make the best of those situations.
Anthony, what do you think the easiest way is to establish trust? If you have to establish trust with another person, what is the easiest way to do that? How do you begin to establish trust?
Well, I would say, like Darren said in the beginning, creating this relationship, right? And the best way to establish trust is once you start dealing with someone, you know his character, and you could say, this is a good person, right? Then you start begin to build this trust, and then you start to make deals and deals and these in the easiest way, right?
Well, I think we all like to do business with people that we like, right? And so one of the things I like about doing this podcast is a lot of people are on an email list that have never seen our face before, besides maybe just a photograph. They don't know what we do all day or why we do the things that we do. And I think that this is a good way to establish trust with people. I'm surprised in this day and age, and I grew up with computers, but I'm surprised at how many people don't want a video chat, right? They're not interested in video chat. And a lot of people don't even want to take a phone call, right? They only want to communicate by text. And a lot of times that's someone in a younger generation. And we need to hear each other's voice, right? I think our tone of voice is very important. I think that ongoing communication, one of the things that started this podcast was every day I'm sending out another email and another deal and another graphic and another description. And I'm also receiving 50 or 60 or 70 emails every day from people, the same thing, right? They're sending out another deal, another offer. And so I started putting a quote at the top of those emails because there's a person at the other side of that email, right? I'm not just sending that to a computer that looks at it. There's a person on the other side that I would like to read it. And so I just thought, if I put a quote every day there from some author that I've read or from some business leader that I respect, something like that, something I found interesting, and just put a quote there every day. It's just a little personal touch to say, hey, I know you're a human being, and I want to put some intention into this, and I appreciate you reading it. And I noticed right after I started putting the quote that the number of voice conversations I was having went up considerably, right? And we're all looking for that connection, that human connection. We're all looking to deepen connection, and whether that's in business or in our personal life. And, if you're having more communication with people, you're going to do more business. It's just that simple. If you're building a relationship with people, if you're having conversations and people are investing time in the relationship, then you're headed towards doing some business together. And a lot of times that has to be very intentional, right? You haven't talked to somebody, I haven't talked to them in a month, right? Well, we were talking a lot before, now we're not talking. I think you have to go back and you communicate. And over time, that develops trust. You do small deals together, and small deals lead to big deals, right? Pay attention to the details, et cetera, et cetera. Now, here's where I would love for y'all to comment on that. What do you think? You get comments about that, Anthony? Darren?
Completely agree with what you said, Sar. Completely agree.
Well, I certainly agree that the quotes, putting that in the email, that builds trust. Because if you put a quote in there that someone reads and that impacts them in that day, that connection goes back to you, because obviously you put that in there because you felt something with that quote that same day. So that builds trust on that level, that communication. So it's a nice touch to add that in there.
So as a manufacturer's rep, we did 5 years selling goods for the as seen on TV industry. And there was a guy in that business. He was the guy that was the CFO of one of the large companies, and a guy that I dealt with all the time. And his birthday came around, or some occasion, I think it was his birthday came around, and I knew that he was a fan of a particular baseball team and of a particular person on that team. So I went on eBay and I bought a baseball enclosed in acrylic, right? And I brought it to him, and he's a CFO, and literally on his desk, there was never more than about space for about 3 pieces of paper wide. There was just stacks of paper everywhere on his desk all the time. And for years, that baseball sat on top of all of those stacks of paper. It was on top of everything all the time, right? And I say, when you give someone a gift, you're trying to build a relationship, you want to put something in their life that's going to stay in their life, right? So they'll think about you, right? Not for any manipulative reason, just, hey, if this situation comes up, think about me, right? Just like a real estate agent or attorney would, or even your doctor, right? You want to build long-term relationships with people, so when they have the need, they reach out to you. All right, let's look at another deal. So this is a huge lot of brand new Bic razors. $92,000 packs in total, 21 pallets. The reason for this closeout is because there's a misprint on the side of the box. And so the master cases are mislabeled. The label shows 12 inners, but the actual contents is just 6 inners. Yeah. So there are 36 retail 2-packs per master case, not 72 as is printed on the side of the box. They rejected the whole order because of this misprint. 92,000 packs, 21 pallets total, all 100% brand new. It's got French and English on the package. The owner has been asking 46 cents a pack for these, but he told us last night, he said 39 cents a pack and get them out of there. FOB is Missouri, right in the middle of the country, so good for freight. And Darren, will you drop that banner down at the bottom that's got our contact information on it? So we've got a banner, got our phone numbers, our email addresses. If you're interested in any of the deals that we're showing today, please reach out and talk to us. We prefer WhatsApp. I wish the whole world preferred WhatsApp. We do most of our business that way. If you're a Spanish speaker, Anthony, se habla español muy bien. Por el todo vida. Como natural. Reach out to Anthony if you're a Spanish speaker and hit us by WhatsApp. 92,000 Bic razors. See, but if
So
we
why
just
would
did
they?
go ahead, I'm sorry.
Apologies, John. Why would a big retailer cancel all of this order just because the case pack has something misprinted on it?
Well, imagine, I mean, it's confusing for the warehouse staff, number one. I mean, how are you going to account for that in the system? But if you're a big retailer, you reject it over anything, right? Like those 10,000 grills, some of the blemishes were literally not as big as the tip of my pinky, and the whole thing got rejected, right? I mean, it has to be perfect going in there, and you're taking a risk as a vendor always, right? I mean, and Bic is so big, Bic doesn't care about something like this, but if you're a smaller vendor, wow, you'd really care, right? 100,000 packs of razors. I'm sure it's not much of a blip on the radar for them, but for somebody else, it would be something huge.
It seems like a great deal. Just a misprint on the box, nothing else.
So, like I said before, we're looking for your comments. If you like the format of what we're doing, if you like something here, if you don't like something here, please put a comment and let us know. We want to talk to you about what you want to hear for sure. We want to add value to your life because, life really does rise and fall completely on relationships, right? We'd love to do some business with you, but we're going to have to build a relationship with you. You're going to have to build a relationship with us. We want this podcast to introduce who we are to you because we sure do like talking to one another. And there are at least a few people that like talking to us. So the more, the merrier. Anthony, tell everybody what's the best part of your day every day on the Caribbean coast? Because you got beaches you can go to there where there's nobody, right? Like if you went out to Big Beach right now, there's nobody out there. You have 10 or 20 kilometers of beach with nobody on it, just pristine, right? But how much time do you have to actually do that?
Well, honestly, I feel like I literally live in paradise, right? I have not only the big beach, which is a lonely beach. You could have peace, you could read a book, you could meditate. We have the national park, right?
Oh yeah.
Which is a very nice, and we have 3 types. You could say 2 types of sand, right? We have the black sand and the white sand. So like
right.
From in the middle of the town, it's divided by 2 types of sand. And if you go to the national park, you will have a very nice white sand. And if you go to the black beach or the big beach, you will have black sand, right? So you could choose. And like you said, the good thing that we have in the Caribbean side, that you could go to Puerto Viejo, you could go to Manzanillo, you could go to Cocles if you want some party. But if you want to be like calm and in peace and in harmony, please come to Cahuita. We have Very nice place.
That was a good commercial. Please come to Costa Rica.
Yes, please.
We should let the tourism board know about it, right?
Yeah.
Darren, what's the best part of your day living in Costa Rica? Darren's in the process of building a house. We'll promise we're going to show some photos and videos of that. He's building his first house ever in Costa Rica. And you've been here 9 years now, right?
Yeah, 9 years and what? We're coming up on 4 months now. Yep. Exactly 4 months.
4 months. That's a long time.
It sure is, but I love Costa Rica. My first few years of living down here, I lived in this valley that I live in right now, which is how I met John. But I since then moved for 4 years up to Heredia, just north of San Jose. But after Panama, I felt like I wanted to come back here because I had just such a great experience when I first got down here. We have the Nayaka waterfall. We got the beaches that are close, and I love living up here in the mountains because I see nature daily. Toucans, monkeys, just everything's around here. That's really what I really love about it.
There's three or four species of toucans in the Diamante Valley.
I believe so, yeah. I'm not an expert on that, but yeah, there's all kinds. You have the regular Uncle Sam, or not Uncle Sam, Toucan Sam from the Fruit Loops, and then you got the Aricaris, which are the fire beaks.
Yeah. But then there's another one, right?
I can't recall what it is, but I know there's a couple that I'm not remembering off
for a future episode.
But we do have two kinds of monkeys that I know about, which is the howler monkeys, which will wake you up in the middle of the night, and then you get the white-faced monkeys.
But you don't have any howlers in the valley, right?
Yeah, you can definitely.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. They'd be on that road that goes back up into the valley. You can hear them on that spot sometime. Yeah, I remember that because they don't like the cold too much, right? They don't go up too high.
I don't think they go up very high in the mountains, no. But where we're at, if you head down towards like the Nayaka, it dips down from there. And so you'll always hear them howling down from that direction.
Yeah. We don't have any up here, and Anthony has 1,000 of them where he lives. If you don't like listening to howler monkeys in the morning, you do not need to sleep in Costa. Because if the light does not wake you up at 5:30, the howler monkeys have woken you up at anywhere from 4:45 to 5:15, and they are the loudest mammal on Earth. So they're per decibels, they're louder than an elephant's trumpet, right? And the last time we were living in Costa, they would just be like a kilometer away, which makes them sound like they're in the bedroom with you. All right. Last deal for the show today. Here we go. Note how this is a power battery bank. Note how it flips from Lightning over into USB-C, which is very cool since we have to deal still with Lightning, right? I'm so tired of wires and charging. Right, I've just had all the wires and charging that I'm interested in. This is a 5,000 mAh battery bank. It is brand new. We have it in 2 different colors, a total of 3,440 units. Your price, FOB California, is $3. Again, if you see anything on the show today that you want more information about, our email addresses are below. Our phone numbers for WhatsApp are below. My phone number is on there, Darren. My WhatsApp is not. My WhatsApp is country code 506. You have to put plus 506 8819 9581. And we'll get that changed at the bottom down there. That's my voice phone number. So I'm going to change that over to my WhatsApp. One more time. These are 5,000 mAh battery banks in a retail box. They switch from USB to Lightning. They're $3 a piece. 3,440 units. FOB Los Angeles. What do you think we didn't cover today? You said we thought we would be long-winded. We're at 25 minutes now.
Well, we never had a teachable moment in here with the gong, so
We never
forgot
had a
to-
teachable. We didn't have a teachable moment.
We did have some teachable moments, but we never did the sound effect.
We didn't explain what a teachable moment is. A teachable moment is just when I start going off on a rant about something that I've seen. It could be something in the news, or it could be something else. And we said every time we're going to have a teachable moment, we're going to use this gong sound. To take the heaviness off, because we don't want the teachable moment to be too heavy. But right after I met Anthony, I spent hundreds of hours with him sitting on my porch talking about Bible stories, right, Anthony? Because you were very interested in Bible stories back then, and you used to try to constantly get me to tell you Bible stories. And so I was a pastor for 15 years. I've studied world religion for most of my life. I've meditated for 15 years now and experienced the benefits of that. And I have some other spiritual practices that I do. And so a teachable moment is when we connect something in real life to, to something spiritual, something that's important, because really everything is spiritual, because spirituality is just connectedness. Anytime somebody says they've had a spiritual experience, they've just had a connected experience. They feel connected to God, or they feel connected to another person, or they feel connected to the earth. In future episodes, we'll be talking about psychedelics, which is how Darren and I met one another 8 years ago in the jungles of Costa Rica with some shamans, both reputable and questionable. That word shaman gets thrown around a lot. But during a teachable moment, we want to talk about something that, valuable for your life, not about business, not necessarily about money, but just something valuable for your life. So episode number 1, we talked about is trust, right? I mean, the people that you trust are the most important people in your life, period. End of story, right? The people that you really trust. Family people, family members, friends that have been friends for years, people you've done business with for years, people that you trust. Those are the most valuable relationships. Hands down. Anybody want to comment about that? We're about to wrap it up. Episode 1 in the can.
I think you hit all the high points on that. Trust is everything, especially in this business.
Did we guys explain our audience that who is our sponsor? I mean, for example, Proven Performer, how it was created, right?
How Proven Performer was created?
That's right.
You mean in the very, very beginning?
In the very, very beginning. That's right.
Well, I wanted to be in this business, and I had been working for other people, and I wanted to be in this business, and I thought, well, I don't really know what I'm doing, and I need to set my thoughts on what I want. So I'm going to call myself a Proven Performer. That was thousands of truckloads ago, right? Because in life, you're getting what you want, and you're getting what you imagine, and you have to imagine the result of what you want, not the how. And so when I wasn't a Proven Performer, I called myself a Proven Performer so that I become one. Is that the story that you wanted me to tell?
That's right. That was it, sir. Get to the point.
And that comes from a scripture that says, "For we have a God that speaks of things that are not as though they were." Right? You talk about things that are not as though they were. You notice people that they talk about being sick all the time, and they're sick all the time. You notice people that talk about being happy all the time, about nature all the time. What are they? They're out in nature and they're happy all the time, right? Out of whatever's in your heart's coming out your mouth. It's that simple. It's that simple. It really is. Hey, everybody, if you watched this far, we really appreciate it. Thank you. For Anthony, for Darren, for John. Into episode number 1. We're going to try it again here shortly. Let us know your comments. Hope to hear from you. Any of the deals today, our information is running down below. Give us a call, give us a text, give us an email. Happy to talk to you. Thanks so much. See you soon.
See you guys next episode.